All right, let's talk about Congress market summary, Congress dashboards, and then individual member dashboards. So we are going to be talking about Congress a lot today. So Congress trading has been popularized a lot because of Nancy Pelosi over the last couple of months slash years, because she has been doing very well, and we at Tradetics like to not indulge ourselves in what's going on out there and the news and the media and the hype behind thing. Then we actually try to see if there is any alpha we can generate from anything that's going on in the markets. And once like people started to pick out how good Nancy Pelosi was doing with some of her stock picks, we thought, is there a way, because these trades are slightly reported in a delayed manner, they're reported in a slightly delayed manner, we thought, is there a way to actually use these to make money? And that's why we created these dashboards. They help you gauge what these Congress members are doing, and then they help you see their performance, and then the ones that are doing really well, you can actually follow their plays and make really good money if you know what you're doing. Because many of the sector rotations or many of the market rotations, there are actually some clues in these Congress trades that you can pick that will help you massively. One example, before energy started to go like exponentially up this year, a couple of months ago, there were many trades on energy based stocks that we were seeing in the Congress market summary. That was a stock, that was one. Let's actually, all right, so yes, so February, March, April, you can see these positions up 10%, 15%, and they were up, I believe, a lot more. So look at like all of these ET positions. This is an energy name. They were building these positions with like massive amounts of money, 500k, 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 and yes, like that's the point. There was a rotation into the energy sector from tech and from other sectors. Market was going down, but energy was going up, and there were clues before energy started to ramp up that were there in the Congress market dashboard. So this is an important dashboard that you should keep an eye on. All right, so what do we have here? It's pretty simple. It updates every day after market close and looks at whatever the new trades are that have been reported by Congress members. The recent largest trades are on the top. You see their position, whether it was a buy or a sell. You see the total amount. This is not the total amount. This is usually an approximate amount, because the Congress members don't report the exact amount that they spent. They report a range, and we just take the mid or the max of that range. Then over the last couple of months, we have a heat map that shows you where most of the money has been put into. It's really nice to see that people have started to put money in QQQ, because we just had a rebound over the last 2 months in markets. But other names of you see here are Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, which are very common names in Congress trades, because these Congress members do like to trade mega caps. But then we also have things like ORCC. I have no idea what this is. Berkshire, PG, Cisco, Airbnb, and a couple of other names. But this gives you an idea on where most of the money from Congress members is sitting, and I think that's a useful thing to know. Then we have stocks that have been most frequently traded over the last couple of months. ORCC again seems to be on the top, but then we have other stocks like Visa, FP, this should be Meta now, Johnson & Johnson and others. But this is just there to give you a general sort of a macro view on what Congress members are doing. If you see any patterns here, you should definitely look into them, because they could be very useful. Then we have the quarterly net flows. So net simply means how much money went into plays versus how much money went out of plays, like how many entries and then how many exits. Again, it's good to see that in 2022, in 2021 Q4, markets were going up, but it's so cool to see that the net flow in 2021 last quarter was actually negative. Now, this is why I'm saying this dashboard is so useful. These Congress members probably had an expectation that markets were slightly going to go down. Maybe not slightly, markets were going to go down about 20-25%. Inflation was going to kick in, there were going to be talks of recession, and so they started to exit their positions, which gave us the negative uh, net flow, which meant there were more exits than there were entries. Another really good one is 2020 Q1, and so this is all in hindsight, but 2020 Q1 was before or during COVID, and there was a huge outflux of positions. I would actually love to see whether this outflux was right before COVID or afterwards. I've seen many positions that were exited right before COVID. So again, the theme is this is a very useful data to have and to keep an eye on, because it can give you very meaningful clues, and you can make money on top of that. So just keep aside all the hype and keep aside how well these Congress members are doing, and actually try to follow them, try to gain trade ideas from them, and just make money yourself. I think that's why we are all in this game. Then we have the most successful senators based on average gains per position. Sometimes you'll see a senator that only has one or two positions, and both of them were good positions. They gained a lot of money, so they might go on to the top because this is an average gain. So slight limitation of how we are calculating this. But then we have total senator gains as well. This is the total gains from all of their positions. Some senators have made a lot of money over the last few years. So yeah, just keep their names in mind anytime you see a trade from them. See if you want to follow that trade, and see if that makes sense to you. And then finally, we have all the trades that have been going on in the market. And again, the data updates every day. Anytime we see a new trade, we add it here, and that's it. You can search by a symbol, and you can also search by a senator name. If we are talking about Nancy Pelosi, then we can see that she had a big Nvidia position that she sold, and you can actually go to the actual position and see. Sometimes when we're saying sales or partial sales, sometimes these have to deal with options exercising and stuff related to options. So just do one sanity check and actually look at what the sort of report, or what the actual what the actual report where they reported their trade says, just as a sanity check. But she purchased like Nvidia, and then she exited about 20 days ago, and she made like a decent amount of money, 4%, so not a lot. But then she she has other positions in Apple, Microsoft, and so you can see like late May she started getting into a couple of positions: Apple, Microsoft, Apple, then Nvidia. And late May was also the time we started to bottom out. So sometimes this is again mostly just hindsight, but sometimes these since they are looking at fundamental factors and they have a very macro view of the US and the world, sometimes they can be very accurate in anticipating what the market might do. And so that's it about the overall Congress market dashboard. But that's just surfacing information that's useful. But is there something better that we can do? Let's see if we can. So then we have what we call the Congress ETF, or the Congress Alpha. And so what this does is this looks at the opened positions or the ongoing positions right now, and this looks at their total gain and compare that with S&P. And so most of the time, so S&P is white, and then ETF performance is green. So this ETF performance was really good in late 2021, even early 2022, but the bear market we have had and lately has actually made these Congress members not trade too well. So although we were talking about some Congress members doing really well, many of them haven't done very well in this bear market that we have had over the last few months, and that shows here. So That just shows that since these bars are lower than the white bars, and white is S&P, S&P at least at the time of making this video has been slightly beating, which is where you're seeing the ETF performance is -4%. S&P from August 2021 to this point is only down about is only down about 0.7%. But most of the time, I think as long as there is a trend in markets, especially a bullish trend, you'll see the Congress ETF actually beat the S&P. So this is again the daily gains distribution. This is the current symbol allocation in the portfolio. So like if you have $10,000, how much of those $10,000 should you invest in different positions? And this is what you have right now. Since Microsoft is a big position and Microsoft went down over the last few months, that might be why this portfolio overall is losing money. Then this is the allocation per day. Anytime allocation changes, we draw these charts, and this is again pretty useful. A lot of colors, but what we are seeing here is there were very uniform allocation. So stocks had similar allocation overall, but then in around February there was a very big Microsoft position, and that made up most of the allocation here. And then this is the this is the symbol performance in the ETF per day in a sort of in an aggregated way or in a stacked way. So we want these to be higher, not lower. But you can see, like in 2022 there has been a lot of volatility. 2021 things were a lot more smoother, and yeah. But this is, let's actually go one step further. This is still looking at every Congress member, and we can assume that not every Congress member is going to do the same. Some are going to do much better than others. So is there now a way to actually go ahead, look at individual trades for Congress members and look at individual ETFs for them? And now that's where the individual dashboard or the individual ETF comes in. So let's talk about Nancy Pelosi again. These are some of her recent largest trades. So Nvidia, Visa, Apple, Microsoft. So you'll see she mostly trades large caps, which is like very good because these large caps everyone can trade them. And if you can look at some of her positions, once they come in, even if there is a slight delay, you can still gauge what she's trying to do. So the reason like this is a sell, I think this was an exercise of options, which would mean I think she actually bought some shares. But please go ahead and look at the actual sort of actual report and you'll know more about this. But what I wanted to talk about is this ETF. And very unfortunately, her ETF has not been working that well as well. I think that's probably because she exited some of her positions. So these are, this ETF looked significantly better in 2021 and in 2022. But right now, it's not even looking better in 2022. Why is that? So that's because this ETF is built on positions that are there in her portfolio currently. Any position that she exited, this does not surface that. It definitely should, and that's something that we should work on. It should actually, anytime she exits one of her positions, from that point onwards we should obviously look at her new positions or her existing positions. But from that point, before that point, the Nancy Pelosi ETF should account for those positions. Right now this chart is based on all the positions that she has currently. And then this is where she changes allocation. So she does not trade very often, so only about 8 bars in the last 8 months. So a couple of trades every month, which is good because we can follow them. There could be a macro view in them. And yeah, and then this is the symbol performance, the symbols that she has in her ETF, the performance of those symbols. And this is again the trades that she makes, and you'll see most of them are green, but this is where she lost a lot of money. So in 2021 she made a couple of trades late in the summer, and since markets went down after that, she has lost significant amount of money. And she hasn't reported any exited trades for these positions, which might be why her ETF is looking so bad. But if you just exclude these and keep some of her latest positions, you'll see that she is she's doing much better than the overall market, right? Let's see if there is anyone else that we can look at before I wrap this video up. There are a couple of people. Let's see, Virginia Fox. I see this name quite a lot. Alright. Okay, so she's doing better than the overall market. So she has not just like a few big positions. I hope it's a she. I sincerely apologize if it's not, because like I'm not a US native, as you can tell, and I am not into politics, so I sincerely apologize if I'm mispronouncing the pronouns. But she has a lot of stocks in her portfolio, which is good again, because we can see a lot of positions and we can see which ones we would like to go with, which ones we won't, and you can see all of these positions. And then how has her ETF been doing? Her ETF has actually in 2021 was not doing that well, but in 2022 for the most part she has been. Green is her ETF and then white is the S&P. She has been beating S&P quite consistently, which is good. Anytime you see these Congress members beating S&P, you want to follow them, you want to go into their trades and see if you can make some money with them as well. And like look at this, like every position that she's gone in over the last month, let's see, over the last month at least, has been green, like nicely green, not just green. 15% returns, 8% returns. So again, that just goes to show you that these trades or this data is meaningful. You should keep an eye on it. So if a trade transaction was made at 21st July, it might be reported a couple of days afterwards, and that's still fine, because you'll see many of these stocks. So Congress members are not trading like day trading. Sometimes they want to stay in these positions for a long time, and that delay, that couple of days delay that's there when they're reporting these, that is fine. Like we can ignore that and still go into these positions, and that will still work. Lastly, we did write a very comprehensive blog post on this, so if you are interested to just read more about how to work with the Senate, how to work with the Congress ETF, the Congress dashboard and things like that, please go ahead and read this. It's a very useful, short but very useful, very useful blog post. You can see previously, like 2021, from the start of 2021 till the start of 2022. So this is the last year. Right now the data that we are seeing is for the last like 8 to 12 months, which is why we are seeing her performance not that good. But Nancy Pelosi did very well. She beat the market by about 2.5 times, and this is the performance that you're seeing. Now that I'm talking about this, we should probably have this actually go way beyond. So right now the data is only from 2021 October to August 2022. It should go way beyond. It should go to 2021, early 2021, then 2020 as well. So we'll work on that. But hopefully this was useful. Hopefully this gave you another avenue to look at, another set of trade ideas, another set of ideas that you can incorporate into your own trading, and hopefully this will prove useful to you. Thank you again for watching the video. I will see you guys around.